Hi, and thanks for joining me again, and thanks to my friend Kathleen Wayland of Wayland Financial in downtown LaSalle for sponsoring Tom's Take. I want to talk to you a little bit this week about sports and pride and what they may have both had to do with our week in Starved Rock Country. A few things happened this week related to them. The feel-good story, of course, is a success of the St. Bede Lady Bruins and their softball team and the Henry Senachwine Mallards and their baseball team taking it all to state. The Lady Bruins brought home the title, and they made us proud. Both schools did with their accomplishments. And the Mallards almost won it all, but it was Lady Bruins who got the parade when they came back, and rightfully so. 50 years, as a matter of fact, after St. Bede went co-ed, which I think was a remarkable coincidence, but also a great way to market. If there were any way to do that on purpose, it would have been the perfect time for it. It certainly was. Pomp and circumstance and all kinds of things went into welcoming them back. And I think that, as I said on social media at the time, it was a special thing. There's been so much angst and anxiety about what's going on in our community, especially with the healthcare situation. It was nice to have something like this to celebrate and to make us proud and just feel good about things again, even for a little while. And that's putting a lot on some high school athletes, I know, but they're gifted athletes and they're smart people. I think they understand that we're not putting all the weight of the world on their shoulders, but we are thanking them for brightening things up for us when we needed it most. So congratulations to them. We couldn't be more proud of all of you. Another thing that came up this week that bothered me a little bit, it has to do with pride in another sense. And it is Pride Month, and Starved Rock Media is all in on pride celebrations. Love is love. I believe that. And I went to the Pistol Shrimp ball game on Pride Night, Thursday night. And I was one of very few people there. There was no one to sing the national anthem. There were comparatively few people in the seats that night compared to how it's been. Now, maybe it had to do with the fact that it was a weeknight ball game. People had to go to work. Maybe it had to do with the fact that it was a little chilly out. Maybe it's just because the Pistol Shrimp have been kind of off to a slow start so far this season. I certainly hope it wasn't because it was billed very obviously as a Pride Night event. I saw a couple of same-sex couples there. I'm sure there were more, but I personally encountered a couple of them, of a couple of women and a couple of men who had the most beautiful, beautiful adopted daughter. And I talked with them and just had such a nice discussion. And quite honestly, if the low turnout had to do with people's attitudes about pride, that's their right, of course. But I certainly wouldn't be proud if that were the case. It did bother me. And what bothered me, too, is that no matter what the reason was that the turnout was low on Pride Night, Thursday night, the players deserve better. They deserve to have people come out and cheer for them. They're a great asset that's also a piece of good news for our community, the Pistol Shrimp. And so I would have liked to have seen a better turnout for them to support them. If for no other reason, then they deserve it. They represent us. They live in our homes for the summer. Finally, having to do with sports, and a more of a personal thing, Starved Rock Media, my company, which owns WLPO, WAJK, and 96.5 The Wolf, announced this week that we're going to be carrying Bears games on 96.5 The Wolf starting this season, in the preseason. Pre-game, post-game, every game. And it's exciting, and it became about, because of an interesting reason, the flagship AM radio station in Chicago that carries Bears games has moved, and the signal getting to Starved Rock Country is weaker. And so the coverage of the games, listening to the games, is going to be spotty in some locations if you listen to that AM station in Chicago. So we stepped up with a very strong, very crystal clear FM signal on 96.5 The Wolf, and you're going to be able to hear every bit of the Bears on our hometown station. And I'm very proud of that, and I'm proud to work for a company that stepped up and did that. So, a lot of different sports stories, different definitions of pride, I guess, but I think they all went into what was an interesting week. And so I'd encourage you, of course, if you want to sponsor Bears games, just give us a call. Carl Mark Lippert, our sales manager, or you can just call the station 815-223-3100 and become a Bears sponsor. Get a lot of listeners during those games. Also, I want to remind you that if you're listening to this on Sunday morning on the radio or you're streaming it online, this is a video. You're only getting part of the story, really, when you think about it. And you can go check out the whole list of Tom's Take videos on Starved Rock Media's YouTube channel. If you have any stories of interest, any people you think would be fun to talk to, something light, something featurey like this, call me. Same number, 815-223-3100, and ask for Tom in the newsroom. And we'll talk about what story you have to tell. I'm always interested in fun things, interesting things, things out of the ordinary that you think are worth having your neighbors know about. So that's Tom's Take for this week. I want to thank you for tuning in, and thank you to my friend Kathleen Wayland of Wayland Financial in downtown LaSalle for her ongoing support for this project. And thank you. Until next week, I'll talk to you in the morning.